Now, you might have seen some videos about this, but there was a disturbing incident in Los Angeles last night when the comedian Dave Chappelle was attacked during a performance. He was basically tackled by an audience member who basically popped out of the stage. Footage of the attack, as I said, is circulating. I'm showing it to you as we speak if you're watching. It was basically a guy doing an elaborate kind of, I don't know what you'd call it. It's like a running headbutt meets rugby tackle type thing. I'm also showing to you a video of the guy that's accused of the assault getting shoved into an ambulance afterwards. So, I mean, when you see the state of him, if you were sitting there contemplating getting on stage and attacking someone, you might think twice. When you see how he came off. Anyway, the Los Angeles police said that the suspect had a replica handgun and, as I said, has been arrested on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon. Now, I've got to say, we don't actually know the reason for this. When it all kind of occurred, Chappelle himself joked that the perpetrator was, I quote, a trans man. That was in reference, of course, you might have seen some of the controversy all around the Netflix stuff. He was making some jokes. Dave Chappelle, he got a lot of criticism for being transphobic, etc. Now, when I saw this, it got me thinking about what it must be like to be a comedian, because in this day and age, you know, half the time you can't say anything, can you, for fear of offending people. But if your job is to kind of make people laugh, push the boundaries, how must it be? So before the break, I told you I was going to discuss this with someone that was funny. Unfortunately, he got held up in traffic. So joining me instead is Andrew Doyle.
Hello.
Hello. I'm teasing. I said it was someone funny. It was you.
No, that's better, because if you say I'm funny, then there's an
expectation
expectation for me to be funny.
You are a comedian extraordinaire, aren't you? And also, you are... come on, you just soak it up. I accept
all right, I'll accept it,
yeah. You are...
No, I need it. My ego needs feeding.
Yeah, you're a comedian. Although I would hate to be introduced as a comedian because I would feel pressure.
Well, that's exactly
right. Immediately hilarious.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a quick joke, or shall we just get into the story?
Let's get into the story. Let's do that, yeah.
So just tell me then, what do you make to all this Chappelle thing? What is life like as a comedian right now? Dave, are you afraid of offending, or what?
It's really interesting because, I mean, I should say the man who jumped on the stage, the LAPD did confirm that he had a fake gun which unleashed a real knife. So there was a sense of real danger potentially about it. But it does remind you that comedians we are vulnerable when we're on stage. This sort of thing rarely happens. I mean, it's happened to Jim Jeffries. He was punched at the Comedy Store. That clip went viral. There was Jerry Sadowitz was punched on stage in Canada when he did a joke about or suggestive that the audience might enjoy intimacy with a moose or something like that. Anyway, it was unpleasant. He got punched. I've had beer thrown in my face at the Edinburgh Fringe.
Beer?
Yeah, someone got upset with me and threw a pint of beer in my face. That show was being recorded, and that went slightly viral, and that sold out the rest of my run. So it can be quite useful, this kind of thing. But it's weird because it reminds you that when you're on stage, you know, if someone wants to attack, they can. But the thing about a comedian is we're meant to have immunity. You know, if you go back to, like, King Lear and the fool in King Lear, he can say whatever he wants to the king. He's not going to get executed for it because the fool is always the figure who says exactly what they think. They speak truth to power, you know, and they shouldn't be vulnerable to attack as a result of it. It's something that I think it's really uncivilised to do that. A lot of people connecting this with Will Smith, of course.
Yeah, but when you're writing as a comedian, like when you're planning your act and all the rest of it, do you factor in now, you know, oh, I better not say that, or I better not say that? How does it work?
I don't, but a lot of comedians do. I think I'm not a naturally offensive or controversial comedian, so it's quite easy for me. But I think if you are a naturally controversial person, in the current climate, a lot of those people will be self-censoring because they're concerned about getting on TV, getting on panel shows, all that kind of thing. And there is a sense in which if someone complains about being offended, that can really scupper your career. If you take Mary Burke, the Irish comedian, recently had a gig cancelled in Brighton, and she came on my show to talk about it. And the reason it was cancelled is because some activists contacted the venue and said some of her jokes make us feel unsafe. And then they cancelled it. She lost the money. So you do, you know, it's tricky at the moment.
I'm going to give you a little bit of an overshare into my childhood, a bit of an insight, because, you know, when I was growing up, one of the people that you used to watch and laugh at, don't judge me, was Roy Chubby Brown. I mean, yes, OK, it does say a lot about me. He was hilarious back in the day. And now, you know, I remember he was trying to do a theatre show somewhere. As soon as people got wind of it locally, they did a campaign to stop him being able to perform. And the venue actually said, no, we're not going to run that. So, I mean, he's completely been affected by stuff like this. And I guess humour perhaps just moves on.